Lighting is really important. It's a great gray day in the studio to paint. It's my favorite type of day, but I would still augment with some lighting. Now the studio lights are turned on. You can see the room has a warm glow. In this video, I'm going to walk you through some different lighting procedures that I have in the studio. Overcast plus studio lighting gives the most consistent results, but I can't expect that all the time. So I'll show you different ways that I deal with either strong sunlight or needing extra light, such as a spotlight. When considering lighting, it's great to have your palette and the panel that you're working on or canvas be in equal lighting, because you don't want a shift of light or dark on each one. In other words, if I see a gray happening on my palette, it should optically look the same on my canvas. Sunshine does come in the studio and you might think it's a problem, but it's easily solved with window shades, and I like the feeling of light being allowed to come and be on the floor in the studio. It kind of inspires me instead of being a problem. My main glass wall is facing north, so that helps as well, as do the shades that are on the skylights. Here's the different ceiling lights that I have. The vent is just a mini split, which is air conditioning and heating. My overhead lights are a mix of different color temperatures. Lighting can get really complicated, but to keep it simple for the purpose of this video and the studio, you want something that mimics daylight. After some research, I chose 4,000 Kelvin, which is a temperature measure, the LED light for the track lights that you see, and then the recessed lights are what are smart lights. So they work with my phone, and you can see here how I'm able to control with my phone the lights, how bright they are, how dim, and the color temperature. I can change them to red if I wanted to. I have infinite control. Nobody's paying me to make this video, and I don't have a link to follow. I chose the system because I thought it would be kind of cool, but I also picked both types of lights because I was nervous the smart lights would drive me crazy. I will say it is super cool and I do like the functionality. However, they do seem to be updating. There's been a few glitches. Right now they've settled in, so that's great, thankfully. Research it, they'll probably continue to get better. I'm using an app called Cloudy Bay. You can see that to the far right, the light in the alcove is much warmer. I like to keep those warmer. So all the recessed lights that are built into the ceiling are those smart lights. This is a setup that I have, which is really easy. You can get these lights on stands just online. They're pretty readily available right now. You can see the marker here, 3,500 is very warm. And then this is the percentage of light. And I'll show you what the difference is because it really illustrates that quite well. And then there's a percentage here. This runs off a battery, but you can also plug that in. So it's really useful for helping film things and for lighting. However, it does create kind of a glare. I can show you that. These are just different paintings that I have up here, work in progress, nothing finished. You can see the big glare happening on the slower paintings. So usually I'll have the light kind of at a 45-degree angle if I need it, but I just feel like it's really too strong. Even though it's technically color corrected, it causes my eyes a lot of fatigue. And this is pretty close at 4,400 to neutral daylight. So if I turn that off, everything gets obviously a lot darker. I don't like to work in an overly bright condition. If I turn the lights on in the studio, we'll see what happens there. Let's just bring this back. So this ambient light is a lot better for the artwork, I think. Definitely balances out the light. Here's a before and after, cool on the left, warm on the right. Room light is definitely better than this one single stand, but this is good in a pinch, and I will sometimes work from this if I have like a still life setup. Let's bring this closer to the artwork and check out what color temperature differences do on the painting. Here you could see the ambient daylight with the gray overcast condition, and Just a nice glow from the studio lights, so it's not too dark in here. Now we're going to look at different light. This is what 5600 spotlight looks like, and then making everything a lot warmer to 3200. I think the difference is kind of shocking. Most people have 3200 in their house, and that's what we're used to seeing because it creates kind of a warmer glow. Well, that wraps it up for taking a look at the lights. I hope this was helpful in seeing how lighting affects the artwork in the studio and different lights that I have.